With me now is the Minister for Transport, Gladys Berejiklian. Let's deal with Michael Deegan's questions. Can you answer them? Basically, he's saying you need to explore more cost-effective options because the commuter traffic seems to... the trends would be beyond Parramatta and Blacktown, out in Western Sydney, not down through the to Epping and Chatswood into the CBD.
Quentin, as Mr Deegan but also Minister Albanese would know, this project has been looked at since 1998 when Bob Carr first announced it. So for more than a decade, people have looked at the best options for North West Sydney, and whether it's the previous Labor government, which I don't like to refer to as examples of good infrastructure planning, whether it's the previous Labor government, whether it's experts, whether it's the community, there is no option for mass transit for North West Sydney but for a rail link.
Yeah, we've got the assessment brief, and you're looking in there for intellectual and analytical honesty, and the points that are raised there, which I've tried to extract from Mr Deegan in that interview, are that it would be more cost effective for the taxpayers of New South Wales to have transport solutions beyond Parramatta and Blacktown, because that's where the commuter traffic would be, where you go to work. We only need public transport mainly to get to and from work.
But if Mr Deegan looked at the submission we've put in for North West Sydney closely, he would see that many residents of Western Sydney actually benefit from the construction of the North West rail line. It doesn't just support and assist those residents living in the North West, but also in the West. And I say to the federal government, to Minister Albanese, to Mr Deegan, let's put politics aside and look at what is in the best interests for the people of New South Wales. And as you know, public transport will always get subsidised, and it's not always cost effectiveness that is the best solution for the people. And if you ask anybody who has to come down the M2 on a daily basis sitting on a bus, and I tried it once and it wasn't a pleasant experience, and I don't have to do it every day.
We need a public transport option. We need rail options and bus options rather than the car. Everybody understands that. But the Infrastructure Australia was asked to assess, Minister, your 2,200-page submission, which puts down the arguments. The question arising from this is this negotiable? Can you negotiate with Infrastructure Australia? Because really, with the deficit concerns all governments have got, we need their money.
There's no doubt, Quentin, we would like the support of the federal government for this major project, but I also want to stress, at the risk of sounding immodest, that we've worked very hard in the last 12 months in relation to this project. In fact, more than the previous government achieved in the last decade, even though they kept saying it was a priority for them. And I also say to the federal government, we take on board your criticism, but we also take on board your opportunity to talk with you. And we say, come and look at the work we've done. Let's put our case to you about why you need to support this project. And I also put the case to the federal government. How can you give $2 billion to a project that you haven't even assessed in the Epping to Parramatta rail line? You haven't even assessed, and you've admitted that you haven't done any assessment. How can you commit $2 billion to that when the people of Sydney are crying out, and deservedly so, for the North West rail line?
In all honesty, you can't guarantee delivery of North West rail, can you?
I can absolutely guarantee delivery of North West rail.
When?
I want to make that clear. We've always said that we will start major construction in the first term of an O'Farrell government. So we envisage that tunnel boring machines will be in the ground in 2014. That's always been our commitment. That is a timeline we're working towards. And if you look at the progress we've made in the last 12 months, we're well and truly on target to meet that deadline. And then the experts are still giving their advice on time of construction, depending on the model we determine to be the most appropriate. It will be between 5 and 6 years for construction after that point.
Gladys Berejiklian, thanks very much.
Thank you, Quentin.